So today we're going to be, there's a little bit of delay here on my slide here. We're going to be doing a high-level overview of the program, the timeline and funding, the application process and scoring criteria that we use. And again, we'll have opportunities for Q&A throughout. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Trisha Thomas. I'm the communications manager here at WAMPO. And WAMPO's role in this whole process is to facilitate a competitive selection process for the 5310 program. So we provide all the information that you've been seeing about the call for projects. We organize this workshop, and then we are also a resource for you as you're developing your proposals. And we also assemble the selection committee and make the initial funding recommendation to Wichita Transit, who is the designated recipient of these funds. And I'll let Raven introduce herself and take it from here.
So like she said, I'm Raven Alexander and I am with Wichita Transit. So I serve as the transportation coordinator and travel trainer for Wichita Transit. So just to kind of give you a couple of quick things, kind of overview of what the program exactly is. Trisha, if you want to change the slide there for me.
Oh yeah, I gave you, let's see. Can you move it or? Okay, I think we were fighting over the mouse.
No, it's not moving for me.
Yeah, I think it's too many. Hold on just a sec, guys.
Thank you. So Section 5310 are funds that are provided by the FTA that is basically to serve those seniors or individuals with disabilities. So it says the Federal Transit Administration program aims to improve the mobility of seniors and individuals with disabilities by removing barriers to transportation service and expanding transportation mobility options. So that is that primary goal for the program. So with that, this is a cost reimbursement program. So you will provide those funds in which you will submit quarterly reports, and Wichita Transit will do the drawdowns for those reimbursements. There is a local match for any of the grant funds, and that local match percentage will vary based off of your project. We see there are some listed there below. If you have questions as far as what your project, what category your project will fall under, kind of what that local match would be, Trisha would be available to help you with all of that. But then also she's going to talk about that a little later, some new cost sheets that we kind of created to kind of help alleviate some of that confusion there. So vehicles can be purchased with these 5310 funds. So if you are needing to expand your mobility or your transportation services, if you are need to replace vehicles, things like that, you can go in and apply for those funds. So there are going to be 3 different worksheets in order to complete that will list the options that come with that vehicle, the different types of vehicles, but all of these vehicles will be procured through Wichita Transit. We have already gone through the process of doing the RFP, receiving those bids. We have our vendors that we are going to use, which meets the FTA guidelines. So we've already taken care of all of that. You're just going to select basically what it is that you would like if that's the project that you're interested in. You want to go on to the next one? All right, so with that, there are going to be some requirements that will have to be met, primarily with the civil rights. You will be asked to have a Title VI program, making sure that you have an ADA compliance going on within your organization, some EEO requirements, some DBE requirements that are going to be available. And also, like I said, through the procurement, we've kind of taken care of the whole Buy America and kind of some of all the environmental regulations through that. But then we'll go through, if you are awarded funds, we will go through and make sure that we have everything and make sure that you're all in compliant with all of that. And so at any time, you are able to go to the FTA site, or there's a link there, and you can kind of see what that master agreement looks like, kind of let you know what our requirements, what's kind of expected through that. But one thing that you will notice within that application, and one thing that you have to have, are those numbers that you'll need to be registered with the SAM.gov. So if you're needing assistance with that, please reach out so we can make sure that happens. But majority of those individuals that do receive grant funding, you kind of already have that number. So,
Hey, Raven, I think I might have rushed through one of your slides accidentally, the one talking about maintenance. This one.
okay.
Sorry.
So for the vehicles and things, Wichita Transit will serve as the lien holder. Once we go through that useful life, and it's going to be those years after it's gone into service, Wichita Transit will release that lien, and that vehicle will belong to your agency at that point. We won't worry about all the other things there. So agencies are free to contract in other individuals, whether you're doing it in-house, whether you're sending it to another service, or you can also contract with Wichita Transit to have maintenance done on those vehicles. Also, preventative maintenance will be something that if you plan to have other vendors or whatnot work on the vehicle, or cost that you incur at your location, you will be responsible for those. You can write a grant, or I'm sorry, part of your project, you can request those preventative maintenance funds. And that is, I want to say, an 80-20 match to help cover some of those expenses. So you do not have to depend on Wichita Transit to do the maintenance. You are able to have that choice of who you would like to do preventative maintenance for those vehicles. All right. So the different types of projects. There are traditional projects, which to be eligible for that, you have to be a private nonprofit organization or a state or local government authority that is approved by the state to coordinate services for seniors and individuals with disabilities. Also, it certifies that there are no nonprofit organizations readily available in the area to provide the service. And then non-traditional other projects, which are eligible applicants for capital and operations, include private nonprofit organizations, state and local government authorities, and transportation operators. So for eligible projects, both operating and capital projects are eligible. So eligible projects are listed by the type of application and in the instruction packet, in which Tricia is going to go into more detail, kind of about filling out those, filling out that application, making sure that the correct project's being selected, or project categories being selected, just things as far as that. And then if you would like more details about what projects will be considered or would be eligible, you can go to the wampo.org paratransit, which is kind of our site that has been dedicated to 5310, to kind of get more details there. So for the next funding period, and we are going to be spending funds for fiscal year 19 and 2020. So there is no cap on the dollar amount that you can apply for. However, you do need to understand that this is a competitive process. So while you may ask for the whole amount, understand that you will not necessarily be awarded for that, as we are needing to kind of divide that up between other agencies in the WAMPO area. So the available dollars that we have this round for funding are going to be definitely for that 55%, which we can go above that, but we have to hit that minimum. is going to be $451,972. Then we have the grant administration, which is the expenses for running the program and all of the above. And then for the other projects, which can be either traditional or it can be for the non-traditional, are going to be $287,618. So total, what is available for the fiscal year 19 and 20 is going to be $821,767. And like I said, this has to be divided up between the whole WAMPO region, not just necessarily one agency. So we are accepting applications through Thursday, December 31st. So you want to make sure you get those in by 5 p.m. to Tricia. The program timeline is going to be beginning July 1st of 2021 through June 30th of 2023. So you will be able to begin incurring those expenses July 1 of 2021. And we'll just go through that, and you will have until June 30th of 2023 to expend all of those funds. We are looking to have the next call for projects the fall or winter of 2022. Got stuck there for a second. So do we have any questions so far? I know I kind of went through that a little quick.
And feel free to put them in the chat or just speak up.
Hey, Raven, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, this is Michelle with Sedgwick County. Do you have a listing? Sorry if I missed this. Do you have a listing of the vehicles you procured?
Yes, they will be all included within the application. And that's kind of what Tricia is going to get into here in just a little bit. The 3 different vehicles are going to be the cutaway paratransit van. We have the minivan, and we also have a full-size van. And like I said, those details are all included in the instructions as part of the application. There is a cost sheet for the vehicles that she's going to go over.
Okay.
You guys can probably see, I have the website wampo.org/paratransit up. Kind of skipping ahead here, but since the question was asked, all of this information is available here. You should have gotten hyperlinks within the meeting reminders if you're on our distribution list. So they're here, and we'll go over that information next. So let me get this PowerPoint back up. Any more questions for Raven?
Yes, Rick, make and models are listed in all of that information.
Yep. I think the only thing that isn't is the full-size Raven. I'd emailed you about that yesterday. Did you get confirmation on what type of vehicle that is?
Is a Ford Transit vehicle, full size.
Okay. We'll add that to the FAQs too. I might update that worksheet just so that everybody has it online. Okay, any other questions before we move on? Okay, so the next half of the session will be dedicated to talking a little bit about the application and the process, going over the scoring criteria, and then again, we've reserved time for questions. So for those of you who are returning applicants, none of this is new for you, but if you're new, you know that we require 5 hard copies, printed copies, and 1 electronic copy. You can email that copy to me, put it on a flash drive or a CD, however is easiest for you to send me the electronic copy. But we need all 6 of those things in order for us to consider this a completed application packet. Candace, I see your question there. We can get into that with Raven, maybe offline, or maybe Raven, you can respond to her privately. Right now, the only options for vehicles are the 3 that we listed. Okay, so the application packet, 5 main things that we need in here. We need a cover letter. we'll go over that. The completed application. Application also should include a separate proposal cost sheet, which we provide online, and I'll show that to you. The vehicle options worksheet if you're requesting vehicles, and a public notice. So if you have responded to our intent to apply and requested to be included in the group public notice, you can just mark number 5 off of the list. Let's see. So for the cover letter, this letter needs to be signed by an individual with the authority to execute contracts. So this might be a finance person or your CEO, whomever does that sort of thing in your organization. And nothing long, just a one-page cover letter, something that includes your organizational mission or vision or purpose associated with this project. And then a brief description of who the folks you're serving are. Most importantly, are you serving our target populations, which are seniors and people with disabilities, as well as a brief description of the geographic area that you're serving them in. And then just a verification statement of proposed local match. This doesn't lock you into anything. You're not promising funds. We just need to make sure that the funding match is coming from a non-FTA source. And we can give more information if you have questions about the source of your funds. And then the public notice, which I mentioned before. And if you haven't had a chance to respond to the intent to apply survey, here's the link. It's at publicinput.com/K5782. This is just a way for us to assemble all of the people who are interested in applying. It saves you money because you don't have to put an article in the Eagle and do all that. We take care of it for you. So we put the public notice out with the name of your organization listed as one that is potentially applying for these funds. If you decide to do this on your own, let me pull up the website here. There are instructions and sample, oops, I don't know what that is, Grammarly. There's a public notice instructions and requirements here on our website, and it even gives sample language if it's something that you want to do yourself. Okay. Oh, and then I just stole my own thunder there. So the completed application, as you saw, all of this is online. There are buttons for almost every single one of these documents. So in that, we're asking that you clearly and concisely describe the project and the people who will be served by the project, and then draw connections to the coordinated plan. And for those who are new, our coordinated plan is something that we developed in partnership with the community, with many of you, with seniors and people with disabilities, to learn about what their needs and wants, barriers, all that, what is happening in the community and what do we need to do to help. So drawing connections to this plan will be really important. Our scoring criteria is embedded in this plan also. So flipping through this plan would be a good idea if you're not familiar with it already. Feel free to copy, paste, and lift any information that connects or resonates with your project also, because we love seeing that. And then the third bullet here just talks about a description of how you think this project will impact or benefit the community that you're serving. So it doesn't have to be formal outcomes and percentages, but we just want to understand what the impact is to the community. So some of you may have seen in our earlier communications that as we begin to implement our coordinated plan, we've kind of zeroed in on priority areas for this cycle. And so what we're doing is priority ranking will be given to projects that have displayed information about regional coordination and collaboration. So this could be between service providers across jurisdictions. It could be private shared ride providers, geographic areas. We tried not to be too prescriptive about what we were looking for because we wanted to encourage you all to be creative and to draw on what you were hearing as what the community-based need was. And we want to encourage partnership. So online, there's a document that goes more deeply into this, but I'm just going to give you a quick summary of some of the things that we have seen or have read about that we feel would fit into these types of priority areas. So these would be projects that minimize geographic barriers in and between communities or providers. This would projects that included partnerships or coordination among agencies or businesses or jurisdictions, and then also provides options that increase the accessibility of our target populations or enhances or contributes to collaboration. Some of you are already doing this, third-party contracting, so contracting for the provision of transit service with other specialized services. And then these regional connections, this kind of breaking down the barriers geographically or between communities. That's something we're really interested in. And then serving multiple populations with infrastructure needs. We had a really great project from CPRF last year that did exactly that by building a sidewalk that served people with disabilities and seniors who lived nearby. So it was a really cool and exciting project. And so then additional regional coordination, like cost sharing. So again, most of this information is found online. There's a document that talks about priority projects. So before I go on, I just wanted to pause here and see if anybody had any questions. I don't see anything in the chat there.
But I do want to pause real quick, Tricia, just for those that have entered after we already began and those that are on the phone. If you are calling in, if you would like to shoot me an email at ralexander@wichita.gov, I will email you the PowerPoint that is being used right now. It will be available after workshop, but I'll email it to you now if you would like to follow along. And then also, can we please make sure if you came in after we began that you place in a chat box your name and your organization and email so that we can make sure that we have up-to-date contact information for everyone.
Thanks, Raven. That'll be really important because a lot of our updates, our FAQ information will be sent through that distribution list, and I don't want to miss anybody, so getting us your information will be important. Okay, so just a quick review, the packet, 5 hard copies, 1 electronic copy, a cover letter, and then consider whether or not your project meets this new 2020 collaboration coordination priority. So we're going to move on and talk about the application and the scoring process. So if you are a returning applicant, you know that one issue that has come up every year is this issue of submitting multiple applications for operating and capital, even though it's for the same project. And then there's all this complication about creating contingency applications. One application is contingent on another, all of that. So Raven and I went through and just kind of streamlined as much as possible. So this year we're giving you all the opportunity to combine your capital and operating requests into one when it's the same project. So we are still asking that separate projects be submitted separately. So say you have 3 projects, one of them is for preventative maintenance, the capital costs, vehicles, and operating. So you could submit that preventative maintenance, vehicle, and operating request all into one application. And then say you wanted to do a passenger amenity project. So you wanted to do signs or sidewalks or something like that. You could submit that as your second project, and then maybe your third project is third-party billing. So we're hoping that this helps make it easy for you. One less application that you have to fill out, and we're hoping that the new workshops help support making all of this really transparent. And then just a reminder, multiple vehicles listed within one project application is fine. I did want to pull up the website one more time so that I could show you. Oh, this is the priority project guide that I was telling you that dove into more detail. But this is the instruction packet, and I did get some feedback last year that not everyone was aware that we had this. And so this just gives you information about due dates, and then it literally breaks down the program details and has a little checklist in here for you so that you know you haven't missed any of the pieces and parts. And then it breaks up the application into the sections. So say you weren't sure what we meant by eligible entity, you could go here and get your clarification. So this is the instruction packet. It should be linked in the notice for today's meeting. It's on our website. It's here. You'll see that these orange areas are our new worksheets, which I'll go over here also. So scoring criteria is here also, as well as more detail about what we mean when we say demonstration of need, and we'll go over that here in a minute too. So let's see, so the evaluation criteria is on a 100-point scale, and it's split up here as you saw on that sheet right before this. So 10% will be demonstration of need, and then 10 points, and then 50 points for that accessibility and or collaboration goals, and 30, this is about the specific needs of older adults and people with disabilities. And then this number 4 is related to the Coordinated Transit District number 9. We allocate 2.5 points for every meeting that you attend. Candace's information is available here if you're new or you're not familiar with this meeting. It's a great meeting to attend to learn about things. So you might reach out to her if that's something that you need. So going back, so demonstration of need, just a clear, concise description, nothing too long. We just want to understand who it is that you're serving, and we want to learn about how this project helps fill in some of the gaps between the current conditions and the desired conditions or wants or even needs. And then this is where we want you to start making the connection between your project and the coordinated plan, and then also describing the impact. The accessibility and collaboration goal, this is where we want to learn about how it addresses the barriers to the people you're serving and any collaboration or coordination you're doing to help enhance accessibility. And then this meeting specific needs of the target population. So these little bullet lists that we got here, this is pulled out of the coordinated plan, which is on our website. And this is basically pulled verbatim from what we heard from seniors and people living with disabilities and people supporting these two populations, these are the things that they told us they were struggling with. So getting to the bank or to go shopping, seeing their grandchildren, going to church, all of these things that they were having hard time with. So this is where you'll talk about that in your project and how your project helps with one or several of these components. And here, I kind of said this already with the coordinated transit district. So I wanted to, before I went to questions, I wanted to show you, because I realized I didn't put a full slide in here, but we have 4 new sheets. One of them is this project cost proposal sheet. And so this will be attached to all of the applications. And this is how we've managed to streamline this new adding operating and capital into one project. So it'll be really important that every project has a project proposal cost sheet. And if it works properly, it should auto-calculate your request for you based on the listed. Is it doing it? Oh, wow. Or am I in the wrong space? Yeah, that's probably. Maybe it's not working. Well, if it doesn't work for you, I'm going to test this afterwards, but this should auto-calculate for us. And then this is where you will notate whether or not you're requesting a vehicle. And then each vehicle has its own worksheet. So I won't click on all of them, but this is for the cutaway van. And it has all of the options for the cutaway van so that you're able to clearly see how much this vehicle would cost based on the options that you're interested in. In addition to these worksheets, which we have for the cutaway, the minivan, and the full-size van, we also have all of the specs compiled in one document here so that you can see what it looks like and learn more about the options. Raven, did I forget something?
No, not that I can identify at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now it's time for questions. If anybody has anything, we'll make sure those calculation sheets are working. Also, if anybody has any questions. And I also wanted to throw out, if anybody wanted to talk through their project just offline or in another meeting, we're happy to schedule something with you. Just put it in the chat and we'll do a follow-up. And Vanessa will get you that PowerPoint. It'll be available to everyone via the website after this meeting today also.
This is Madison from the Park City Senior Center. I'm just clarifying by saying your status is a CTD9 member. Is that just attending the meetings, or is there a different way of becoming a member?
Candace, will you speak to that? Or maybe Michelle or Dorsha, can you respond to the CTD question? I mean, in general, I request attendance records for the CTD.
Yeah, this is Michelle. Yeah, Madison, you would just contact Candace to be added to that group. It is pretty open. It's for transportation providers in the coordinated transit district area, which includes Butler, Cowley, Harper, Harvey, Kingman, and Sedgwick, and Sumner counties. So I don't know if you provide transportation right now, but it's a meeting that you can show up to. It's something that KDOT requires to receive federal funding, and I believe that Wichita Transit is requiring in order to pass through those federal funds. in
Okay,
Raven.
yeah. Thank you, Michelle. Yeah, I've attended one. I just didn't know if there was any other requirements as to become a member, but I think, yeah, you and Candace answered that. Thank you.
Great question. Thanks for the help, Michelle and Candace. Any other questions?
Yeah, this is Brianna, City of Derby. I just had a question. We may be having a project coming through. Sorry for the disruption there. We may have a project coming through in regards to possible routes and different things like that. So for bus stops and different things, if we chose to do something like that and we're thinking about doing it the next following year, would this be a great time to go ahead and apply for 5310 funding? Does that pay for any bus stops, or how does that work?
Raven, is this a project that you were talking to me about?
I think Kyle may have been mentioning that, and I was just doing some follow-up on that to see if there was something that we could possibly do.
Would you mind just sending me a quick email describing what that project is so that I can look into that? Because I think I need to check in with Raven and look at the circular so that I can understand what it is that you're thinking about. As
Okay.
far as timelines, I mean, yeah, we'll compare the timelines and I'll just send you information afterwards. If I'm interested in this answer, I'm happy to share it on the FAQs also. See if I can get this timeline back up. Any other questions? Okay, well, we'll get these slides put up. The recording will probably come sometime next week, as well as the FAQ document. We'll include some of the questions from last time, just in case they come up again as you guys are applying. And then also check out those new worksheets. Hopefully they're all working for everyone, and you guys have a good weekend. Last call for questions, comments. Raven, do you have anything else?
I do not. Everyone just have a great weekend. And like I said, if you came in late, if you can sign in the chat box, your name, organization, and email, just so we have that document of who attended the workshop and also that our email list is updated.
Okay, well, you have a good day, everyone. Thank you for coming.